Infect over here. It's more modern. I think I uploaded tools that I had. Maybe I'm missing one, but unlikely. That's probably the last tape I have from the previous test session that's still modern. That's my brew Bant flash on the left in the hands of a teammate, and then Absent Vizier company on the right. So all of the major matchups are out, and this is kind of like a funky one, just for your leisure, pleasure, entertainment, and such. Basically, it's a short one, and my hair's run off, and soon I'll get going, get ready, just wash the dishes, and pack my backpack for the travels. Um, what can I say? No, that's not Vizier Company, that's Infect. Yeah, sorry. That's Infect. I'm not gonna make the cut here because otherwise it takes too long and you just saw cards in my hand, so that's Infect. So don't worry about that. Infect is pretty much non-existent right now in the format because of a bunch of discard spells, spot removals like Fatal Push and all the Chalice of the Voids and things like that, and also Goop Squatter from Old Razatron keeps this deck out. But if you have a bit more diverse method to local game stores, then that might be a decent deck for you. Yeah, I think that's in thing, because yeah, there's been a spell pierce in my hand. Let's see. Well, that's not exactly a landmark, but still. So I went into Averwell, so sorry for the glares. It was a very bright day. I don't think we had jalousie or good curtains for that window, and we already set it all up. But hopefully my verbal commentary is gonna be enough for you to navigate without any cringing. So I fetched end of turn. Oh yeah, right. Not end of turn. So in response to Val, so fetch got a brilliant pull, gets and cast my spell pierce to counter that Aether Vial. That's very important in this matchup. Basically, he doesn't have that many non-creatures in the deck, actually, because a lot of his interaction is basically sort of imprinted on a creature. It's not a company deck. It's kind of like a Vial slash abusing Flicker and comes in playabilities kind of a build. It's different. It's different. Yeah, shuffling for quite some time here. Some bad habit that I should actually get rid of eventually. And yeah, basically, if he gets a Vial going, then he gets a huge edge in this matchup. I think my problem this game was that my hand was loaded with thumb spells. Okay, I hit basically Infect Source, but that's about it. Plus I hit it turn 2, not turn 1. Well, that allowed me to pierce his Vial, but still. I think I should have moved there because it's a bit tricky. So I think I should have tried to, like, chip for 1 here. If he would have Spell Starter Sprite, fine. I think that's fine. If he had a path, then maybe that wouldn't be too bad. The problem with just going YOLO here without the spare mana, like for Pump Spell, is because he does have 4 Spell Starter Sprites at the very least in his deck, so that's a easy way to knock that Nexus off the board. Yeah. And sorry for upside down cards. I don't know if I should call this a bad habit of mine that came into power in the last couple of weeks, but what can I say? I feel more comfortable this way, sort of somehow. And it's and unlike going lens first, it's better for your opponent actually. It's bugging a little bit, but you get used to that, and then this way, you can read the cards without like asking your opponent to extend them to you, so you can read cards at any time if you have decent eyesight, or if you're wearing glasses or contacts and such. Um, okay, he just cast a Noble Hierarch and fetch for top land, main phase. That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I guess he wanted to save time, kind of like real life F6, basically. Oh no, it was end of turn. Okay. Ah, it's just because I passed the turn. Sorry for that. So that wasn't actually F6. That was end of turn. That was actually end of turn. What's the next thing? Okay, that's kind of dangerous, so I'd rather not have to deal with that. He can actually pay for it to get resolved, because he had 4 lands in play and the active noble, so yeah, I imagine he would pay for this here, but this at least, prevents him from interacting with my Infect. I scoop it up, just my hand full of pump spells. I think played more lands than this deck normally does. So one way to avoid things like that is probably just to, you know, cut few pump spells and add some Serum Visions into the deck. That probably should help the issue. So yeah, Infect is not really an existing deck, and it's really not well positioned right now. I don't think if it had Detection Prof it would help. I don't think it would help. You would know what you're up against and what your opponent can do at certain points, but I don't think it will help. The field is just way too hostile for the deck right now. Enjoying some chocolate coffee while I can. No heavy lunch, just some light salad. Well, no, I actually had some chicken in it, yeah. I'm not a particularly big fan of Infect as a deck, but I actually quite like it in Legacy, so it's a deck that I'm close to completion with. Well, I still need some juice like tropicals, but that can easily be borrowed. So when you're building even modern decks and especially Legacy, if you're missing some very popular flexible cards that go to many decks, well, just borrow them for a while. And then in sort of combo decks like this, which is Infect, you can survive at regular events with some like Breathing Pulse or Sanctums. But no, you actually want just Shocklands at least because of the days. So you want to be able to, use the days properly. Days for days. Okay, turn 1 well on the play. That stinks. But I might have a good hand here. Fetching forests, I imagine, into a Noble Hierarch. Passing the turn, Vial charged up. The only one drop that can Vial in is like Nobles, which is still not bad. Basically, when you play with Vials, it's like having 8 Nobles in the deck, or like kind of like 8 Vials in the deck, because, well, it's all just for ramping. Because you do have quite a few 3 casting cost spells and 4 casting cost creatures, so and he wants to get there consistently. Actually, I think cards like Spellstar Sprite are pretty good right now. I believe that Sylvan's crying, so that I should have like first played and then played my land, because if it would have resolved, well, I think he just spell pierced it or spell snare. That's either way. So if it resolved, I would rather just slam Nexus. I don't care if my noble dies there. Actually, I'd rather have the chance to actually attack with my win condition next turn. Just that Sylvan's crying, well, okay, it does search your land from the deck, but it puts it into your hand rather than into play. So what I was saying was that Spellstarter Sprite is actually pretty good right now in the metagame. So I'm actually not surprised that a lot of friends I know is gonna play fairies at the Grand Prix this weekend, because well, Sprite is probably at its best right now, kind of for quite some time. What else? This card is good. Fail Push makes fairies pretty good, so yeah. Cheap counter spells, flashy frats. Sounds all good to me. Sounds all good to me. Okay, I'm fetching under 10 a pull. What is up next? He's just checking like how neat the proxies are or something, I guess. I know it's... Oh yeah, it wasn't a proxy, it was just a bandit of it, because I once put it into my jacket pocket with the intention of keeping it there just for 5 minutes, and then I forgot, and then I took it out and it was so deformed. I took a couple of like heaviest books around the house and kept it for quite some time, the card between those, so to straighten it up, but didn't quite work to an extent. And yeah, if you double sleeve it, it's actually okay, so you can't actually feel it. But yeah, just in singular sleeves, then yeah, it's tricky. You'd rather not use it at a big event like that. So you ideally you'd want double sleeve plus plus your actual sleeves to be quite thick. Here's a Pendelhaven, only one of in the deck in this build because of the Sylvan Scrying, and also drawing in double Pendelhaven is one way to lose with this deck. But it's so important that most of the time you just forget about all those odds and just play 2. Because you want to be able to draw it in a game, usually. I'm actually attacking with a noble here, but just for 1. I know, where is it? I think I'm just gonna utilize some of those pump spells on, and I think it's not unrealistic at this point to actually try to win with normal damage instead of infect counters. Valtic's up. I think it's gotta be a 2 now, I think. Because he played it on turn 1, and now that's his turn 3. Or is it? Ah, yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay, untap skis, and let's see if I draw any infect creature actually. I only used 1 pump. It's not too bad yet. And if he deals with my infect source, then I can still go back to the normal damage plan. Okay, Noble's attacking. Just for one, it seems. Really? Okay. Okay, just passing the turn though, so that looks kind of bad, to say the least. Looks rather bad. That looks rather bad. Well, the opponent is not really doing anything, but he doesn't really have to. Okay, now I fetch up a Dryad Arbor, which is in the main deck. And, well, what can I say? It's much better now. It still gets a pump from Noble, but I can pump it with the Pendle. But of course, you gotta do that before declaring attackers, so that Noble doesn't override Pendle, Haven, and stuff like that. Okay, here's one more land. That switches on other groundswells, at least. So yeah, here's an Arbor attacking. He has a Violent 3, I suppose, by now. So he could flash in like a Vendilion click off of it and still have mana up for some more interaction. Okay, so I still have basically 2 mana up, or 3 mana up even, for counters. Okay, so he animated a Mutavault there and cast the Spellstarter Sprite to get rid of the agent. I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened. Yeah, there is a Mutavault. It's hard to see though. It's like pretty much anything in this recording, but sorry for that. I guess it was kind of fortunate that it wasn't really a match that's really relevant right now in the meta, but just something interesting to look at. I think that's some Mutavaults, yeah. Or is it Fountain Shock? No, I think there is a Mutavault. Okay, whatever. He's trying out a sword, fire nice. Right, that's annoying, but what can you do? Yeah, I think there is a Mutavault somewhere there. Okay, 2 mana to equip the Spellstarter Sprite. It's a Sword of Fire Eyes, so pro red, pro blue, and +2/+2, and he gets to shock somewhere and draw a card. So yeah, he can try to get through to... Oh no, he's gonna shoot the Arbor for sure. I can save it though. He's down to 9. He's down to 9. So if he doesn't have a 3-drop here, or what, or a 4-drop, then I can actually win. With just, you know, loading up on pump spells next turn. But now I have to use 1 to save up the Arbor, because, well, I don't know, there's some reasoning behind just letting him do this. But among other things, it also, you know, cost me off an extra mana, which might be important, but unlikely, but still might be important. So there's an argument to actually just let this happen, because I still have Noble. It's just that I would have one less attack by default, but then I won't need to use this pump spell. It's probably correct just to let it go. As funny as it sounds. So yeah, the Bant Flash deck is pretty much full proxy. Just because I printed it out to have more interesting matchups and just more modern decks to like play and test with. Yeah, this is kind of close, but I don't think I should have saved the Arbor here, because I think I should have enough to Vines plus another pump. That's already 5. I basically need another 4 plus 4 pump. And I cracked that fetch, which is also probably not that good unless I already had everything in my hand, because that's shuts down a top deck groundswell. Because if I didn't, crack that fetch, I would have that as an out. But I think I already had it in my hand if you just didn't have a blocker to put in from the vial. I suppose he attacked with the spell starter just to, get a pump out of my hand, and I hope that I'm actually just flooded and that I don't have that many pumps. I actually decided to go kick vines on the arbor. I don't think that was correct. I get to keep the arbor, but who cares? Well, opponent should care. So the point is that if he doesn't try to shoot away arbor, then well, if I attack next turn with both, I can just pump whichever one he didn't block. Okay, arbor attacking, pendle pump, and exalted trigger. So that's 3, right? Yeah, that's 3. Plus the become immense, so that's 9. Trying to play around Spell Pierce here, I think. Yeah, because might as well. I know, he was full tapped. He was full tapped, so there was no reason to play around that, but I guess I just had another Vines in my hand or something. Okay, he shows me stuff that he can't really, flash in. Maybe he kept Vial on 3, which I don't get it. Well, Rest Angel would have helped here, because there is no trample or unblockable thing. And a Vapor Snack that also would have helped, but he kind of like tapped out prematurely. I don't think why he did this. So that was really not a safe line of play from him last turn. If he had that kind of stuff in hand, he could have just kept all this mana up for, to rest to spell starter, Vapor Snack, or whatever. So he went for a cute play. Well, he went for a play that's in the bright day would just mean that he would actually, be winning with a margin. But I think if he just kept all his options open, then eventually he will beat me down with the flyers. I don't think that he had to rush like with the sword that early. So yeah, that was a pretty gritty play. He knows that I have become immense in the deck, and just most of my non-lands are pump spells, so that was not good. just not careful. Well, both decks have sideboards, and we could have done that, but it wouldn't be like vast sideboards because this matchup is not super relevant. So we skipped over the sideboarding stage because, well, it doesn't really change things all that much. I mean, he gets stuff like spreading seas, for example, and some counters, but like, well, maybe like reclamation sage that he can violin. Okay, so there's one which already upticked, and the Serum Visions turn 2 to try to find Pierce or Spellsnare. She's still like decent in this matchup, though. The red 2 main deck, well, they counter the Agent. Is that about it? I'll counter Sylvan's Cry, but that's like, what, 5 cards? So that's not great, but well, if you get that going, that's pretty sweet. Okay, in my case, I had Noble into Blastil Agent. Okay, he drew the card already, now just crying. I think he kept both on top. Okay, now I have Nexus joining the party, and between Paindel and Noble, that's 3 unblockable points of Infect. I have Apostle's Blessing in my hand as well. I think I probably have at least one pump in there. Yeah. So Agent's getting through for 3 points of poison. Can't quite see it. Okay, he vials in a Noble, so he's gonna have a bit more mana to work with next turn. Here's a breeding pool, so he can cast something like a Mystic Snake or something. But yeah, this matchup doesn't look that good for the Flash deck. Especially when you don't draw any Path to Exile, for example. But the good part is that you have so many flyers. But Agent could be tough. Because then you just have the Leaper, Snag, and Paths, and that's it. And that's it. Well, Venser also counts to bounce it back to hand. But yeah, all of that is valid only if I don't have protection spells. And nowadays, some of those things do both, and it's not just vines; it's blossom and defense too. So there are like 2 different cards to do pump slash protection at the same time. Right, taking my turn. Yeah, there are not that many things that can help him. And yeah, I'm really considering at least a one-off like Supreme Verdict in that Bant Flash deck. You don't have like spell quellers or anything, which might belong to the deck, but I've gone with this deck against so many decks and I haven't really been missing spell quellers, but yeah, if you go into that territory, you're playing a different deck altogether. I'm not sure I want to do that. Because once you go spell queller, you want to go collected company and a bunch of other things, and then you can't really play that many spells. And okay, like I don't have spell queller here, but I have enough ways to counter stuff or do things. Okay, he gets to sprite a groundswell here to prevent Miser +2 effect. That's not much, but something. That ain't much, but it is something. Another visions to try to find something to get out of this because, well, I think he's at something like 6 poison by now. So he needs some help. He's not dead by default just yet. But he's dead to any pump spell plus protection. I don't know why I decided not to move in here. Probably caught a what is it? Blessing in my head. Okay, that's another while. So he had some interaction, but he was trying to dig for a path with this double visions play. But I had blessing up anyway, so that wouldn't help. So yeah, Infect is a bit of a degenerate deck. And I guess it's good for the game and for the modern format that it's not that good anymore. Because if you don't have a special deck that, you know, have a critical mass of interaction, then you just fall to it so badly. Fold and then fall. Well, all I need to do is just cast a pump spell and have mana for blessing up. Okay, 3 incoming. And then here's a groundswell, so that's 5. He was at 6, I think. So, waiting for his reaction, and there's just freaking nothing. 2 Mystic Snakes and what? And the Spell Snare, I think, in hand. Okay. Or what was it? Yeah, kind of that Spell Snare. Well, it does counter Apostle's Blessing, so it actually counters Now that I think of it, at least 7 cards, technically. So that's something. That's something, and all those cards are very impactful. So that's pretty good. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, but check the links in the description below and the feedback in the comments below. And until the next sale, goodbye folks.